with immanence. We believe that it is spirit immanent with us, within us, that leads us to transcend. I want to talk about catching the updraft. An updraft is air moving upward. And if you got the burst, you saw a really cool picture of people, what do you call that, parasailing off of a mountain with those things, which I have not been brave enough to do. Maybe someday. But it looks like fun. And part of what you do, I know, is you catch the updrafts. You don't just, you jump, and you also catch the updrafts. And here's my thought, that community creates an updraft, right? When we're on our spiritual journey toward being the best person we can be, to be our total realized whole self in spirit, community provides an updraft. And I have many examples of how that's been true for me. Just being in a room with other people. Every Saturday, there's a book study. It's a Paul book study group. Most Saturdays I go to that. And this is material I read on my own, I meditate with. I've even been to lectures by this guy. It's good material. But I am amazed at how being in the book group with other people, it has more power. I am lifted up by the power of all of us in the room. I catch that updraft. Now, today, I call God all kinds of different names. And because in unity, we definitely say there's not one name, and there's the female God, the everything God, the every God there is. I'm not even going to go into it, but today I want to call God all that is. It's working for me today. So all that is means God to me today and for you, or that to identify with that spirit. In the identity clarification team, way back in 2005, this is a unity thing, identity clarification. Unity's always trying to identify itself because the ideas are so big, and we're saying, well, what are we teaching exactly? We do it over and over again at our conventions because the universe is constantly opening up new things. And in 2005, Phil Pearson, who's a reverend, had a great answer to the question, is unity Christian? He said, unity has always been an approach to Christianity. So everybody on the team at the time in 2005 could get behind that. Unity is an approach to Christianity. And I would say that today, in 2019, that unity is an approach to Christianity and any spiritual path. And that is very, very true. How I know that is by looking at the prayer that was chosen for Unity World Day of Prayer, which is September 12th, by the way. It's a 24-hour thing, starts at night, goes for 24 hours. We'll have a service Wednesday, and then we'll end with a gong meditation the next day. But I just want to read the guiding prayer, because to me it speaks to God greater than a Christian tradition. Breathing into prayer, I am in awe of the unbound spirit, the infinite presence within and around me. God is vitality in my breath, beauty in the natural world, strength in my determination, and compassion in my acts of service. I recognize God in the spaciousness of the universe, as well as in my limitless dreams. Let me just say that one again. I recognize God in the spaciousness of the universe, as well as in my limitless dreams. Let me set my sight beyond where I have seen before, into the vast reality of divine power and presence. Let me draw upon divine power and presence in order to fulfill my great potential. In the harmony of prayer, my heart beats to the rhythm of God. The pulse of infinite life moves me, nourishes me, and empowers me to give life to my dreams. So that just tells me as if I needed to hear it again, but that unity is greater than an approach to Christianity now. It is an approach to spiritual connection. That's what I would say now. I have an interesting concept of all that is. So just 3 ways to relate to all that is. Infinite, intimate, and inner. And I'm getting this from Reverend Paul Smith, who's actually a metaphysical Baptist minister. Interesting mix, right? He's really cool. He's written some very transcendent things. So infinite, intimate, inner, on the way to transcendence. The third person infinite is accessed through reflection and contemplation. So that means thinking about all that is. And so thinking, contemplation, sometimes that would be from reading a book. It would be sitting with yourself, thinking about what you read. It would be in a class. Often it's in a class when concepts come up, contemplation. You're just sitting with yourself. When, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I'm always remaking what I think about God, the universe, and everything. Right? It's a natural thing. We do it all the time. We think of how we fit, what happens when we die, what happens when we're born, whether or not we come back, how all that happens. So that would be that approach. We're thinking about it. And it's very necessary. And for me, it does need to make sense. It's the sense I make of it, but it does need to make sense. So it's an important part of connecting to all that is. Another way to connect to all that is intimate through devotional prayer, which would be a feeling way. So feeling and connecting, I still, as I was saying the other day, I still say a Hail Mary, because that was a prayer from my youth that has meaning to me and connects me to all that is. Also, many, many people say the prayer for protection. It connects them to all it is, or whatever your special prayer is. It's a devotional prayer. It's about feeling the love. The other day I was reading a book, and in it there was one of those beautiful reassurances about you are known. All that is knows you. And I know that, but every now and then I come across it from somebody's voice. So it hits me, and it just makes me happy. I know that there's, 6.5 billion people around the planet now, not even to mention before or what happens when we go to our next journey. That's just a lot of souls, right? I love feeling the connection that I am known. I am known. And I feel that also when I do something called prayer, when I put words to the infinite, when I address all that is. Part of it is I like to write prayers because that's a way to express myself, and it's a connecting way for me. I'm a better, as I learned early on in ministerial school, I would much rather write a prayer than stand up and think one up on the spur of the moment. It's how I connect. I like to write a prayer. Something about the thinking and the connecting and the feeling gets engaged with me. But just knowing that you're known. So let me reassure you now, if you do not have that thought, just entertain the possibility. Even if every bit of you says, I don't believe you, just allow in this much room that it might be true, that you are known by infinite loving presence. You are known and seen and celebrated, appreciated. Let that make your heart a little happy today. So the third way, the inner connection to all that is through meditation, which would be transcendence in the way we describe it here. That's what we're going to describe it today. The realization or the recognition that I am one with God. I definitely have had that feeling when I purposefully sit and meditate. And at the same time, I have noticed that a lot of times I meditate and it's the rest of the day that I feel more connected. There's not golden light coming through the clouds in the exact time I'm meditating. However, I have had the experience of the feeling of golden light coming through the clouds. It's funny to me, some of the most powerful moments. One time, I used to work at Unity of Boulder, and the minister there, Jack, gave this talk. He talked about a vacation he had in Arizona or somewhere, but he had this encounter with a snake. And there was something about his encounter that triggered the infinite to him. And he was describing his infinite connection. And I was like, yeah, I hope I never have to meet a snake to see God. But I'm driving home, and in the middle of driving from Boulder, Colorado to Golden, Colorado, I can't explain, but there was the opening of golden light, which was a feeling more than a seeing, and I was completely connected and transcended, and one, just the way Jackie described, one with all that is. And it is ineffable in that you can't really describe it, but it is all the super good words. Feels wonderful. I felt connected. I felt loved. I felt seen and known, and the sense of everything was where it should be, and I was doing what I should do, and happiness and peace was astounding. And quite frankly, those experiences are what keep me on the spiritual path, besides the fun of hanging out with really awesome people. It is that experience that happens when you keep doing spiritual work. You are going to stumble upon some transcendence. I promise you, I guarantee you, I will give it to you in writing if you want. If you keep doing spiritual work, you will stumble upon some transcendence and have that knowingness and the feeling that you are known and loved and appreciated, and your heart is full, and it is the best. Now, here's the whole point about why we do this stuff together. Community, which is what we are here, offers the promise of belonging and calls for us to acknowledge our interdependence. To belong is to act as an investor, owner, and creator of this place. To be welcome, even if we are strangers, as if we came to the right place and are affirmed by that choice. And that is what we want to keep creating here. And it takes all of us. One of my minister friends gave me a beautiful idea of community just last week. And I'll explain it to you. And it's really, it is definitely Midwest. So Lake Michigan, I did not know this, but Lake Michigan does not come up to the shore the same place every year. Apparently, the body of Lake Michigan takes a 17-year journey, or about 17 years, around the lake because of the tides, and the way the sun is and the moon is and all of that, and the earth and some other scientific stuff I can't remember. So that, for example, if you have a house on the lake, one year the water, well, you'd probably be on a cliff, I think, but anyway, if you have a house close to the lake, one year the water's right up close. Next year, it's like you have 20 feet of sand. I don't live on Lake Michigan, but I have been there. So just think about that. So the lake, and obviously it goes in and out and in and out, because even though it's not an ocean, it does look like an ocean to me. And there's tides, so it goes in and out. But it travels this journey around the shore. So to me, that is a really interesting and beautiful visual example of what we in a community are. Because, yeah, we're water. We're a part of the water. If you want to be a molecule or a wave, excuse me, or a drop, that's cool. You're water, and you are your individual droplet, but you are also a lake, and you're making this journey. It is the journey of soaring to our spiritual wholeness, you know. And it's individual, yes, it has to be individual, but it's also together. I keep experiencing that the togetherness of the community gets me higher up. It gets me higher up because I get to see the parts of myself that I need to deal with, because, you know, we're people. People are going to be just slightly irritating sometimes, even at church, even at the center, I mean, you know, wherever you are. I know for a fact that married people irritate each other. I know that's a surprise to some of you. Mothers and fathers and kids and cousins and bosses and, you know, the whole bit, right? Teachers, students. We are going to annoy each other from everywhere from, she said that again, to like, I cannot be in the room with that person. Right? That's part of the beauty of being in community, because that's what we're supposed to learn. We're supposed to learn all of that stuff, and we have people who are highly paid to teach us. Good thing. The universe pays us all highly to irritate each other just a little. Now, the three practices I talked about alone are awesome, but in community, it's like exponential growth. Meditation by myself can be beautiful, but in a room with a bunch of people, that's just the running of the herd. It's our very, very special, wonderful herd. In a room with other people, it has more power. Has anybody else but me experienced that? Just give me a little hand raise. If meditating with a group lifts you higher, yeah. And we have a lot of opportunities to meditate here. Obviously, we meditate for 2 minutes here, but we also meditate every Tuesday at noon. You can go to a sound meditation. Twice a month, you can go to a full moon and a new moon meditation. Every Friday, there's a forgiveness meditation for AA people, and so on. And we're going to add back in another weekly meditation this fall. We haven't got it scheduled yet, but we are. World Day of Prayer, there's a meditation that night, ending with the next night a gong meditation. So you can do that here in community. Prayer. Prayer is interesting. Mostly we like to start every class or service with prayer. We like to pray together. And we have a prayer ministry. And if you don't know about the prayer ministry, sign up at the atrium. It's an email prayer ministry, but it works great. Put your name on the email prayer ministry, and you will get a one-liner about who you want to hold in prayer. And we also pray for people in the service. You can request that. And, all right, I'm going to ask you another question. Who has had an experience where people prayed for you and something shifted? Yeah. And we know these are true experiences. Power of prayer. So we got that going on. We also, if you're interested in this, we'd like to get some prayer chaplains going. So if you something that you think, which just means after the service or after anything, that there'd be a prayer chaplain who would sit with you and pray with you. Teach you some unity affirmative prayer, and we would say, anybody want to pray today? They would whisk you up to the prayer tower or some other office, and you'd get just a 3 or 4 minute prayer with a person. So think about that. Let me know how you want to be part of the water in our community traveling around the shore. And then reflection and contemplation. Probably, in a funny way, a lot of our offerings at Unity have to do with thinking and learning. I'm very excited about the next thing I want to think, learn, and teach, which is the Dare to Lead class. The beauty of that is Brene Brown did the curriculum for us. She asks that we don't charge money for the class, so you can see in the back table, you can sign up for the class. You can order the book through us or not, but that is a practical and lovely contribution. If you take that class, you will be making a contribution to yourself and to this community. You will help all of us by, even if you don't decide to lead something right away, you will have a vision of how you want to be led, which is also really helpful. So I encourage you to do that. We've got a Course in Miracles class coming. We have lots of classes going on. There's a nonviolent communication group that meets every Wednesday, and those people practice a way of communicating that works, and so on. I'm not going to read you the calendar because I think it's already boring by 3 things I said. My point is, that's what we do in community here. Now, the last thing I want to say is this. Being a part of this community has actually been a dream come true for me. I say it a lot. It's my dream job. But what I'm realizing is this year, it is more than a dream job. It is the dream of us creating a new way to be in community, because we are. The leadership of Unity and the community of Unity has been meeting together to create a way of leading and being in community that is not the traditional top-down, not the minister or the leader, laying down the word or directing. And it does take longer, I notice, to do things, but it is so much more fun and so much more satisfying. So I hope that you can feel my excitement when I talk about it, that about how these wonderful things that are happening at our center are exciting for me and hopefully exciting to you, and exciting for the people that will be coming, our kids or the people who aren't even here yet, and all of that. And I ask you to look inside, find the part of you that's water. Okay? You find the part of you that is lifted up by air, yes, but find the part of you that's water and wants to join and be a part of our Lake Michigan in our journey to find our whole self. And as we go together and support each other on our watery, awesome swimminess. Let's take an offering for Unity. I invite you to take your support, your money. If you're like me and you give by a credit card or by your bank, you just, hold it right here like this.